And before we dive into the world of solo leveling, a reminder to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button if you're enjoying the content. As we explore the captivating world of solo leveling, it's hard not to notice the numerous flaws that leave us scratching our heads. This anime transformed from a Japanese light novel to a manhwa and now an anime has captured hearts with its fresh take on the power fantasy genre. However, a closer look at the plot reveals some inconsistencies that make us question the logic of the world. The story revolves around Jinwoo, an ordinary man who discovers himself at the lowest rung in a world where people undergo transformations, acquire powers, and are categorized by their power levels represented as ranks. And despite being an E-rank hunter, he obtains the capacity to amplify his strength through combat, propelling him towards becoming one of the most potent hunters ever known. The show's widespread appeal underscores the delight fans take in the power fantasy trope, offering a chance to live vicariously through an underdog's journey to greatness. With pulse-pounding sequences and an irresistible hook, Solo Leveling is a binge-worthy series. However, it's not without its issues, and then the storyline and character development sometimes lack coherence, and we delve into these inconsistencies in this rundown of the top 10 perplexing moments from the anime. And the civilians seem oddly calm and unaffected by the gates that have been a perpetual menace to their safety and peace for over a decade. While it's true that people may have adapted somewhat, the reality is that they inhabit a world where sudden death can materialize out of nowhere, where cities could be ravaged by monsters emerging from these gates. Is it not reasonable to expect some level of concern, even fear, some apprehension or unease, perhaps? The lack of government oversight is another issue. In a world where supernatural gates opened a decade ago, releasing lethal monsters, it's troubling that there seems to be no intervention from official entities. Hunters, although they are part of guilds, typically function as independent contractors, and there's no real framework in place to monitor their behavior and ensure that their cause is essential and not excessive. And the world building in Solo Leveling is greatly unbalanced, and we find a blend of magic monsters and hunters living side by side, but some elements such as the hierarchy of hunters, their ranking system, and the guilds they are part of are well fleshed out. And on the other hand, aspects like the origins of dates, the influence of the government, the consequences of magic use and mana radiation are not as clearly explained. The lack of mental health support for hunters is striking. And given their line of work, where death is a constant possibility, they encounter life-threatening scenarios, witness grim deaths, engage in excruciating battles, and experience unbearable trauma. And, however, there appears to be no support system in place to assist them in dealing with these hardships. The dungeon formula in Solo Leveling is quite repetitive. Initially, the dungeon system appears to be an exciting premise. Gates open, their strength is determined, a squad of suitable hunters has gathered. They then charge in to vanquish the boss and seal the gate before a dungeon rupture takes place. However, after several arcs, this formula becomes monotonous. Typically, dungeons adhere to the same pattern where hunters confront increasingly powerful armies and ultimately prevailing over the boss. Supporting characters in solo leveling solely exist to praise Jinwu. Regardless of its other hunters, government personnel, guild leaders, or adversaries, as soon as they witness Jinwu's might, their individual characteristics fade away and they lavish him with admiration. Instead of having the chance to grow into multi-dimensional characters, they are relegated to being admirers. The fights in solo leveling are too predictable that and DC processing. But once Sun Jinwoo commences advancing in levels, the encounters tend to follow a consistent pattern. He engages an adversary, grapples with difficulty for a short while, and subsequently, which acquires a new skill or effortlessly overpowers them using his might, the imagination of. And although this formula is entertaining for viewers who are fond of power-centric narrative tales, it strips the fights of any suspense and makes them distressingly foreseeable. The injuries in solo leveling are never realistic. Battles are mercilessly grueling, yet seldom do the characters sustain lasting damage. For fighters endure powerful strikes, impalements, or grave wounds, but continue to fight until ultimately a healer arrives to heal them. However, it's during the period before their recovery, as they struggle with life-threatening injuries inflicted by high-ranking monsters, that they demonstrate an astonishing capacity for quick recuperation. Jinwu's Shadow Army is ridiculously overpowered. Once he ascends to the Necromancer class and assumes the title of Shadow Monarch, he gains the Shadow Extraction skill and constructs an army of reanimated warriors, each more powerful than their former selves. But this transformation not only makes Jinwu virtually invincible as a hunter, but also tips the scale significantly in his favor during battles, as Jinwu's decision to sit out the Jeju Island battle until the last minute is puzzling. Given his immense power, his absence during this critical time leads to avoidable casualties and damage to his motivation for staying home to look after his mother is relatable. However, the strategic move of him assigning shadows to 5 different hunters adds an interesting twist. Nevertheless, while the S-rank hunters are in a life or death struggle, Jinwu is instead found fulfilling his daily training objectives. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you next time. Bye, right?